Round 2 of the season finale from East Lake in Atlanta, Georgia, and Big Dustin Johnson appears to be cruising to the FedEx Cup title. Johnson with a round of 67 after opening in 66, and he leads at the midway point. Gulf Central on the tee.
Gulf Central pregame. Brought to you by Titleist.
Bit of unfortunate news today. Jason Day's season is over prematurely. He withdrew after hitting his fourth shot at the 8th hole due to some back pain. His camp releasing the following statement: strained ligament in his lower right back with muscle spasm, withdrew as a precautionary measure. He should be fine with some rest after a long break in the offseason. Todd Lewis with more from East Lake.
Well, Rich, Jason Day's camp was cautiously optimistic about Day playing the Tour Championship, but in his opening round on Thursday, he did complain of pain in his lower back, and that pain continued today in the second round. Still, he was playing beautifully. He was 3 under through 25 holes, but he did walk off on the 8th hole. In regards to how much pain he was in, well, visibly he didn't seem to be in any agony. His gait was pretty flowing. As a matter of fact, he jumped in his own car and drove himself off property. He will have some time to recover now. His next scheduled event is the Australian Open back in his home country, taking place in November. Now, by him pulling out, that means he gets last place unofficial money for the Tour Championship and 0 FedEx Cup points, which means that his FedEx Cup bonus will be significantly affected because he is going to drop in the FedEx Cup standings after Sunday's competition. Also, this means that Dustin Johnson seems to be a certain winner of the PGA Tour Player of the Year. Rich?
Todd, thanks very much. The injury ailment timeline for Jason Day, longer than certainly he would like. Remember the WGC match play, he won despite some back issues there. Flu-like symptoms, top 10 at the Masters, and then cold symptoms at the U.S. Open. He fought through that, and keep in mind a year ago at Chambers Bay out in Washington had those issues with vertigo. Rib injury at the Open Championship at Troon. And WDs from the BMW Championship at Crooked Stick. This is a guy we know who goes full out. I mean, he takes a real cut at the golf ball, and so the if with Jason is he'll go to the Hall of Fame someday. He'll be one of the greats of his generation if he can stay healthy. Rich Lerner alongside Paul McGinley, winning Ryder Cup captain in 2014. David Duval, former world #1. David, you've dealt with the back issues. What's your big concern as you look at sort of that litany of injuries?
You look at it, and you know, I don't really care about the cold, and I don't really care about the flu. Those are illnesses that happen, but the recurring back problem, there's a theme there, and there is a big problem. We've been watching that with Tiger Woods for how long now? Yeah. And for me, if you just go back 15, 16 years, at a very similar age, kind of late 20s, it kind of ran me off for a long, long time. And he's talking about possibly playing in Australia in November. I'd put everything on the back burner right now until you know you're 100% healthy and can come back. And that might be next summer for all we know, but make sure you're healthy. Finishes
his year with 3 victories, did win the Players off the 5-victory 2015. Still, it's been a spectacular run for Jason Day. Let's get to the highlights from round number 2, and we'll start, Paul, with Dustin Johnson. Again, appears to be in full control of what he's doing out there.
Certainly does, Rich. When he's in form like this from tee to green, he's absolutely killing it. Here he was on the 5th hole, second shot, 106 yards. And we've talked a lot this year about how much his wedge play has improved, and there's evidence of it, 6 feet.
And 5 under par. And David, Kevin Chappell, I know you're impressed with what you're seeing from Chappell.
Very much so, and he knows he has a lot at stake this week. Well, first of all, chasing his first victory. He's had a few runner-ups this year, but also chasing that last Ryder Cup spot and trying to keep pace with arguably the best player in the world right now in Dustin Johnson. He's doing just that with shots like that one.
Chappell, 7 under. Let's get back to Dustin Johnson after a birdie at 6 here at the 10th hole. Second shot to the par 4 from 130.
Again, it's only a wedge for Dustin from that distance. And there we go, inside 10 feet again. Another birdie.
Yeah, 7 under, co-leader. Once more, Kevin Chappell, the man from UCLA. Little bee sting.
Well, they're playing outside, right? One of those things that happens, unfortunately.
Second shot. It's not his best.
Not his best. That was going to lead to a bogey.
Blame it on the bee. The bees. Drops to 6 under. Chappell now at 18th. That's the par 5. This for birdie to tie for the lead.
Yeah, he was just short of the green here, and again he hit a poor chip, and was to go on and miss that putt and make a par on a par 5. Easiest hole on the course this week so far. 6 under, one shot back at Dustin.
Dustin Johnson has this 35 under over the last 7 PGA Tour rounds played, scoring average 66.3 in that span. And there's a pretty big gap as you go down to third place there with Kevin Kisner. Ryan Moore continues to make a case for that last Ryder Cup spot. And Rory McIlroy did bounce back. He was 3 over on the front, 3 under on the backside. Russell Knox had the day's best round, 4 under 66. Let's hear now from the leader, Dustin Johnson.
Obviously, the first 11 holes I played really great, and it still felt like I played pretty good. And late in the round, just you miss the fairways. It's really difficult out here, and got a really bad lie in the fairway on 17, and but still managed to get a 5-footer for par. Just missed it, and then 9 too, or 18. I thought I hit a really good tee ball, and it just kind of stayed right there down the left side, and it just barely missed the fairway. Again, it's if you miss the fairways, it's very difficult to get it close to the hole, or even sometimes even around the green. But overall, it's a really solid day. Very happy with it.
Mentioned he is on a real run. I'll give you something else to chew on. He is looking for his 4th win in his last 9 starts. Before 2015-16 season, he'd never won more than twice in a single campaign, and he's looking to winning consecutive starts for the 2nd time this season. He checks every box right now, Paul. He has it all, doesn't he?
He certainly does. I mean, there's no doubt he's the hottest player in the world at the moment. We've seen this before. We've seen Jordan do it. We've seen Rory do it. And we've seen Jason Day do it. When they get in these purple patches, they seem to pull away from the field. And that's exactly where Dustin is at the moment. Confidence is high, got a powerful game, and he's able to pull away from the field. And interesting to see if Kevin Chappell's going to stick with him over the next 2 days.
David, what did Dustin say at the BMW Championship?
I loved it, because we've talked about his driving, his wedge play, how he's improved that, and how basically his proficiency in hitting the golf ball. But he said, I feel like if I putt well for 4 days, I win. And he's doing just that again this week. He has a very good chance to pull away. He's 5th in greens hit this week, 3rd on putts on the greens he hits, and he's tied for 6th in strokes gained putting. He's tee to green 2nd, total 1st. I mean, it's just when you put that combination together, especially because he's playing so much closer to the green than most players, virtually impossible to beat.
This is his 10th career 36-hole lead. He has converted 5 of the previous 9 times he's held that mark. Stay with us, by the way. Dustin Johnson, the best thing the United States has going for it, going to the Ryder Cup next week. Wait until you hear what Captain Davis Love III had to say about his own team. We'll bring that to you when we come back on Golf Central in just a moment.
Golf Central is brought to you by the new Titleist AP irons. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.